So I started my first business when I was 14.
Oh, wow.
I'm making little websites for local businesses.
Here we go. This podcast is all about inspiring people. I love that.
So I kind of just taught myself, back then, back in those days, there was no YouTube, there was no, boot camps or anything like that. Oh, I wonder if we could just connect Spotify to this and can I create a button that logs into my Spotify account and just tells me which festivals I should go to?
Right, okay, based on your playlist and based on what you've been listening to. Okay, yeah, amazing.
And so I prototyped it on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday we tested it, me and my housemate, and it was there was oh yeah, 6 of your favorite artists are at this festival. I didn't even know. I was we literally booked a ticket. I walked into the office on Monday. I was we've already made a sale on this.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, brilliant. All right.
So can we release it? And they were yeah, well, let's do it. I just feel clubs should be open till 6 a.m, man. That is not good for my sleeping patterns. I'm gonna blow your mind here. I think we should do a 4-day work week.
I think I already do.
Oh, do you actually?
I think I do 3. Hi, welcome to a brand new episode of Loud Unfiltered. Today we have Ben King from Dancefloor FM.
Hello.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Loud and Unfiltered. Where have I come from? Well, I originally was in London and then recently been living in Barcelona. So kind of, know a lot about the London scene and been living in Barcelona 2 years now, pretty much.
Oh, wow. So, right. So, the weather must be a lot nicer over there.
So for February, yeah. You can't really beat it.
Yeah?
Bright blue skies, nice beaches.
Yeah. How have you found that move? Moving to Barcelona and working there, trying to run a business there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's obviously having to learn Spanish as well from scratch at my advanced age is not super easy. So I'm spending a lot of hours on the apps and things like that.
Oh, okay. How is that? How is your Spanish? And you've got a Duolingo,
Muy bien.
Oh, nice.
No, Duolingo. You don't use Duolingo.
Oh, do you not?
This is the real Loud and Unfiltered here. You go
right.
into Busu. That's the real app to use.
Right, okay.
But yeah, we'll talk about this offline. But yeah, no, it's great fun. Great nightlife scene out there as well. Got a great group of friends over there, and so I'm working on Dancefloor and doing that kind of remotely. Splitting my time between London and Barcelona at the minute.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. Yeah. Cool. All right. So I really wanted to get into it today. Just find out about this new project that you've launched. How that's gonna fit into the UK nightlife, maybe even global nightlife scene, and just discussing different scenes, like you just mentioned then about the Barcelona nightlife, how that compares maybe to London and stuff like that. But let's just kick it off. The audience might not know who you are or what you've done or your your history. So just how did you get into the industry? What was your first kind of moves into nightlife or music industry? Or tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm a software guy, so I'm a software engineer, and I started my first business when I was 14. So I'm making little websites for local businesses in around Nottingham. Yeah.
Oh, so, wow! Here we go. This podcast is all about inspiring people. I love that. I
made some great websites for some florists. Let me tell you.
Oh, really? Right. Okay. Okay.
And so I kind of just taught myself. Back then, back in those days, there was no YouTube, there was no boot camps or anything like that. So I was just kind of reading online tutorials and kind of teaching myself and. Just making basic websites, and then started to learn how to make more interesting, interactive websites. And I've been working on that ever since, really. So I did a brief stint where I went off to university, so I got to enjoy that.
Yep. Okay.
So
what university you go?
Nottingham Trent.
Okay, nice.
So the
really
fun
good.
one.
Yeah, really good nightlife. Yeah, really good nightlife. Yeah.
Have you been out in Nottingham much? Do you know?
Yeah, I used to go to uni in Coventry, so Nottingham wasn't too far. So we used to always go up there and have a lot of fun, basically. Yeah.
Ocean's still one of my favourite clubs.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long time since I went out, but it was good. Yeah, something like Ocean. It was the really old nightclubs with. I think we mentioned this earlier about the sticky
floor clubs.
Carpets.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. There's not too many of them clubs anymore. So
no. But I mean, so that's where I kind of got started, and then I was really. It's only in recent years. So I started working. The first time I worked in kind of the music sector, I worked at a company no longer exists called Fest Ticket. So they were doing festival ticketing.
Yep.
And that was around, I want to say 2013, 2014. I was working there, and it was really interesting. Once I got into that, and I'd actually never been to a festival before, and so
wow! So you started working at a festival.
Well,
and you'd never
before I
been before.
accepted the offer, I went to one.
Oh, right, okay.
And I went to the last ever V Festival.
Oh, wow, yes. What, in Chelmsford or in the Midlands?
I couldn't tell you where it was. I've no
right.
idea.
Oh, right, okay.
It was one of the two. But yeah, I think it was like Pink and Jay-Z and things like that.
Oh, right, okay.
And so I'm at this festival and I'm like, I'm kind of weighing up different options of companies to go to, and Festicket was one of them.
Yeah.
And I was looking around, I was like, everyone here is so happy. Like, this is such a joyful kind of experience. Like, these are so fun. And I thought, okay, well, if I can kind of through technology, because I was going to go in and really help their sort of discovery elements of helping people, find their perfect festival and like connect them to ones that they might not even have otherwise known about, right? And I was like, if I can, be part of that sort of experience supply chain and like connect people to those, I can feel really good about that work that I've done, because that's getting people out the house, giving them these amazing memories.
Yeah, and experiences, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, and especially for like festivals, these are fairly rare occurrences people have, and they're kind of the sort of cornerstone moments that people remember. Like, you remember going to Glastonbury, you remember going to, that one when you finish your GCSEs or you finish your A-levels and like all your friends are going out. Like, that's the thing that kind of sticks in your memory.
Yeah, I even every summer, like I think festivals. I mean, festivals have been a huge part of my life for the last 20 years, and like it's what I look forward to every summer. It's like I'm going here, I'm going here. You kind of pin your whole summer around certain festivals that you're going to, where you're going to spend time with your mates and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. And they're the memories you have from. Like, I can think if you picked a year, I would know exactly what festival I was, who I was with, where I was going. Well, I probably couldn't remember anything else about that year, but I'd remember those festivals.
100%.
They're like amazing experiences. So, yeah, I mean, tell me a little bit about that then. Like with Festicket, like you came in to like what help the site connect with their audience better, or to try and like build that so someone who didn't know too much about festivals could like almost create their own festival, and it will pop up and show you like these ones are what you're into, or I suppose to enhance the fan experience. Is that kind of what you're doing? So
the remit that I had when I came in was around, so we were really focusing on sort of the homepage and then the searching experience, and then we would have festival guides, right? So really really like selling you, not selling you per se, but like helping you understand what the festival's about.
Yeah, okay.
In a much more, festivals are obviously a lot bigger than a regular sort of standard concert or a club night, right? There's lots of different activities you can do. There's like camping options. You got to think about all these different elements of it. It's kind of like a holiday, if you will. So, really helping people understand that. And then over time, we had a magazine as well. So like, making that really interactive and interesting. And then over time, some of the sort of innovations that I brought in was, I went away once and I was like, oh, I wonder if we could just like connect Spotify to this and like, can I like create a button that like logs into my Spotify account and just tells me which festivals I should go to?
Right, okay, based on your playlist.
Based on what I've been listening to,
okay.
Amazing. And so I prototyped it on the Saturday, and then on the Sunday we like tested it, me and my housemate, and my number one result was, I think it was Reading Festival. I'd never been before. Oh, right, okay. And it was like, there was like, oh yeah, 6 of your favorite artists are at this festival. I didn't even know. I was like, we literally booked a ticket. Oh, right, I walked into the office on Monday. I was like, we've already made a sale on this.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, brilliant. Oh, right.
So can we like release it? And they were like, yeah, well, let's do it. So
amazing. Yeah.
Really, that's been a kind of a common thing, is just helping connect people with these events that, otherwise they might not have even.
Yeah, so like it's almost like creative, like creating that perfect festival for you. When sometimes you don't even really, but with festival lineups, there's so many people on different lineups that sometimes a lot of people.
Have you seen the Tomorrowland posters?
What, one of them? That's so
it's like
tiny.
4-pixel font size.
Yeah, no, I think they do that on purpose.
Yeah, I think
people
it's more,
like zoom in and.
It's
like,
not really for practical purposes, I think, because then the compression, like you can't even see.
Yeah. If you actually zoom in, you can't actually. Yeah, it's all pixelated. But I think I think that's part of their marketing.
What is it, like 1,000 artists or something ridiculous?
Probably more than that. I would have thought. Yeah, you just know everybody's playing. There'll be someone there, especially from electronic dance music as well. But so I mean, from Festicket, like, what did you go on to do next? Was it like, did you see like, I love working in this industry. Yeah. I'm starting to build knowledge around, people's habits, people's like what they like to do when they're going out, how they're buying, how they're like. Engaging in events and things like that. Like, how did you then use that knowledge?
Yeah, no, I really zeroed in like, this is the problem space I want to be in. Just because when we'd have new people coming into the company, and I would be sort of explaining what we're doing, and I was like, not to sound, you don't want to sound too cliche, too cheesy, but I was like, we're not selling oil here. We're selling experiences. We're selling memories. Like, if we do our job well, people have these incredible experiences, and like that's something you can really feel. Like personally, I've achieved something really good here. Like I've put some good into the world. Yeah. And
When it goes back, you go to the festivals and you probably see some of the people that bought tickets and you see the smiling faces.
Man, the amount of times I've been out in like Barcelona, I've been in the queue, like drunk off my face, like, how did you find the app? Like, how was the buying experience? Just like talking to people.
Okay, to market research, I suppose.
Oh yeah, I'm always hustling.
Oh, right,
always
okay,
doing the user research on the ground.
But yeah, no, I mean, you just said you're out there doing market research. Yeah, tell me about your new project then. Dancefloor FM.
Yeah.
What is it? Like, how long have you been going? Yeah, what is it? And what are the plans? What's how are you going to be solving some problems? And how are you going to help nightlife? How are you going to help people discover music and things like that? Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, so Dancefloor is my new company. So we've just sort of publicly launched last month at this point, so very new. But essentially the idea is we are a platform to help people discover DJs, new DJs, and also club nights in their city. So, talked about the festivals in the past, also worked in the concert space. And with nightlife, I think it's a space that obviously is under a lot of pressure and a lot of stress at the moment, right? You hear, constant kind of news stories about clubs shutting down and, it is getting harder for people to go out. And there's lots of factors of that we can obviously go into. And I think what I really wanted to do with Dancefloor is, for me, it kind of was born out of my own personal problem point, right? Yep. My own pain point where I would say probably it was like 2020 in lockdown. I hadn't really been a huge like electronic dance fan before then. And I came across Fred again. So he did his lockdown song, We've Lost Dancing.
Yep. Oh yeah, that was that song, yeah.
Yeah. The lockdown banger. Yep. And that kind of really kind of unlocked a new interest in me in like dance music in particular, because I'd never kind of conceived that dance music could be, also quite like emotional. Like that's really what he does, I think. If you had to sort of categorize it, it's kind of like emotional dance music in a way.
Yeah.
And that was really interesting. And so I started going down this rabbit hole of really learning a lot more about house music and stuff like that. And so in terms of like discovering new DJs, I'd be like, okay, well, I need to, how do I do this? So you had to get a SoundCloud account and was like going down that rabbit hole. And I was on RA, I was on Dice, I was on all these different things. And what I started to realize is, particularly if I had, been listening to, I'll listen to the sort of curated playlist I have on Spotify, right? So there's quite a few like Stutter House ones that I like and things like that. And I'll come across new DJs, and a lot of the times lately they're kind of on the smaller end, right? So they're not huge, but I really like their music. But I couldn't find a way really to just like let me know when they're playing in London or they're playing in Barcelona or wherever. Yeah. Like I would love to go to maybe it's, I don't know, it could be at a Fabric or it could be at a smaller kind of venue. And like tickets would be like £5 or something. I'm like, yeah, I'd totally go to that. But I couldn't really subscribe. Like there was nowhere that would just like let me get notifications of when they were playing.
That's it, being told when it is. Like, so so you're not just endlessly searching for this.
Yeah, and you might know like the Songkick platform.
Yep.
So they do that pretty well for concerts, but there's like they don't do that for nightlife. That's not really on their platform.
Right, okay.
So I kind of started with that pain point. I was like, okay, well, I just want to get the push notification. Like so and so has just announced they're going to be playing in London.
Yep.
2 or 3 weeks now, or even just tomorrow night. So and so playing. Do you want to go? And I go, oh, actually, yeah, I do want to go, and I will go, and I do go. So a lot more kind of spontaneous discovery there. And then another pain point I had was, so if you go to an event, and obviously there's like a bunch of different DJs on the lineup, right? Like maybe you know one, maybe you know zero. Maybe you're just going because you like the vibe and you want to.
Well, a lot of the time it's friends.
Yeah, your friend. Yeah, you go on friends. Yeah.
Yeah, you normally have one person that like really likes the music.
Yeah.
And then everyone else just kind of tags along, and then those people then get into that artist and things like that. So kind of discovery, isn't it? Yeah.
So because I would look at you look on the other platforms and they've got the lineup on there, so you can see who the DJs are, and you tap through, and it's like it doesn't tell you literally anything about the DJ. Like, if you're lucky, you'll get the country they were born in. You might get a genre tag, which, genres is a very sort of fluid
very
thing at the moment anyway.
Very loose, yeah.
And that's it. So I was like, I don't know anything. Like, I have no kind of frame of reference here. And so I was like, what would my dream kind of, DJ profile be? And it's like, well, just bring together all their stuff. Like, if they've got like YouTube sets, if they've done a boiler room or something like that, just list those and let me go watch them, and I can scrub through and take a look.
And you can do this all from the app.
And this is on Dancefloor now, yeah, right?
Okay,
so
perfect.
For example, DJ Heartstring, like I went to go see them recently. They're a really fun show.
Yeah.
And they're on our app, and when you go onto their app, So you have their full sets. They've done boiler rooms. I think they've done mix mag labs, those sorts of things. So I can just like watch their, hour 30, 2-hour sets, and they're really fun and they're really great content. We've also got kind of Instagram stories. So like, the kind of people on the dance floor with their phones out.
Yep.
Very contentious, but it's really cool. But those are actually now embedded in the app. So you can kind of see like from the kind of perspective view from the dance floor, what it's like to be at that show. And
is that being fed in from their Instagram, or is it?
So it's people can upload them, right? So
okay.
For example,
you can upload them straight onto the app.
So
I like that.
So when I went to DJ Heartstring, I took a couple, 30 seconds, not like I wasn't spending the whole time on my phone, but I uploaded them, and you can just like kind of swipe through them, and you can get the vibe on the dance floor. You can see what like how the crowd's reacting to, and you really get that kind of.
They stay on there forever, so people can go back and like there was a show, let's say a week ago, and they can go on there, and they can see fans stories of what that show was.
So like you're not just reading like a text profile of an artist or a DJ. You're actually getting that sort of visceral sense of what it's like to be in that crowd for that artist. And the sort of net effect of that is that when you actually use the app and now you use Dancefloor now, like I get so many holy shit. Like I never would have even crossed my mind to check out these DJ, but like they look so cool. They look like exactly the kind of vibe that I would like.
Yeah, definitely. I think with Instagram and we talk about phones on the dance floor, but it's like people do want to film their moments and stuff like that. But like take your phone out. We'll record for 15,
I think like a little snippet and put it back. Yeah,
definitely. But being able to like look at what a night's like before you go to it, or before you go to their next gig. I mean, it's all music discovery, and I think. Well, that's it. It's like what are your current thoughts on nightlife in a minute? Like, as we said, it all sounds really doom and gloom. There's another club closing this week. Yep. There's sometimes there's clubs open, or they're open for 9 months, and then they get shut down because they've got the buildings happening and stuff like that. Like, I mean, London may be different to the rest of the UK, but like, what are your thoughts on the state of the current UK nightlife? And a minute, and where do you think it's heading? And what is maybe Dancefloor doing to like encourage people to come out or connect them with their favourite artists? So I've asked about 15 questions in one.
Yeah, let me break that down. So I was going to say it's actually quite interesting. You mentioned before about like the difference between London and Barcelona.
Yeah,
I just feel like clubs should be open till 6 a.m. Man, like that is. Not good for my sleeping patterns, but it just feels right. Like in London,
it's like you've blown out, haven't you? Probably.
Just London, like they all close at 2 a.m. What's that about? It's too early.
Do they?
I don't know. The ones I go to, maybe.
I don't think I've been out for a while.
5 or 6 is good.
I suppose it depends what clubs you go to. Yeah, 5 or 6. Yeah.
But so I think so I think right now, electronic music, dance music, there's this kind of contradictory thing going on where like dance music is ascendant, right? Like it is the fastest growing genre for fandom.
Yeah.
And it's bleeding more and more into the mainstream, right? Like you think about like last summer, we just had like the album of the year was Charlie XCX Brat, which is all about club culture and club music.
Yeah.
Won a Grammy. You had Fred again headlined Reading, was the first ever dance act.
Yeah,
right?
blew up massively, and it's like there's whole new audience kind of that are following them, and coming to dance music or first time they've heard kind of that sort of sounds and things like that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so it's definitely growing in popularity, but at the same time you hear constantly, so many clubs are closing down. There's these sort of doom and gloom prognostications that they will go extinct in 10 years or something like that. I think.
I hope not. I'm going to be out of a job.
I think humans want to dance, right? Like I don't think there's always going to be a space for that. But and London in particular, we now have the new council. What's it called? The nightlife.
They just launched this month, didn't it?
Yeah, very recently.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. Yeah.
So I believe it's the head of Fabric is chairing it, right?
Okay, amazing.
So,
but that's good because sometimes there was a night Kazar, and I don't think she was. I don't think she's ever been to a club before.
No.
So having people on the platforms like this or in communities like this that actually live and breathe it and understand club culture, understand why people go out. I think that's super important to. Not to disparage the past, but moving forward, I think definitely like this panel is a lot of good people on there, so that's good. Yeah.
But yeah, where's it going? I think over the most recent few years, like when I was at university, so I went to university, I want to say 2010 to 2012. So you can carbon date me based on that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was very much, the kind of sticky floor club. I like, don't get me wrong, love a bit of cheesy music. Love the whole, drop One Direction at 4 a.m. and
Wow.
Pitbull, Kesha.
Oh yeah, my uni days are coming back to me now.
You can still find it in London. It still exists in places. Okay. But yeah, I think the kind of club where it's not about a DJ, it's about really that sort of social space, I think is dying, if not dead completely. You kind of your Oceanas and those sorts of things.
Icons and divas and ones like that. Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
And I think, it's kind of obvious why. Obviously, people are kind of demanding more from that stuff. And also, I think you can't discount, obviously, cost of living. Like, the cost of going out now is higher. People need better value for money for that. I think online dating has also changed. Like, that used to be the way people would go and meet people. And now,
that's how you go and, go meet your girlfriend or meet a lad or whatever you it is. It's like, you go and do that on the dance floor, wouldn't you? Go and have a dance and then you
and that's changed now. Like, apps have replaced that. Run clubs are replacing that. I keep hearing about. I don't know what's that about. What are you running from? Is my question.
I think, but talking about a run club, it's all about community. I suppose that's what going out dance clubbing and like being part of a community and stuff like that. How is Dancefloor like trying to help build those communities and stuff like that? Is that what are you on a mission to not say bring nightlife back, but make people find it more accessible and understand that and find new music and find new communities and things like that.
So I certainly wouldn't say bring it back. I think it is here. I think it is alive and well. Yeah. So I'm not as pessimistic as some might be. But I think in this kind of new era, this new world, I think you've kind of got two new directions of travel. One is people are asking for higher production value. They're going more to these sort of super clubs, right? So you've got Printworks was one of the, I guess, more of the first of that, and that is going to come back. That's being rebuilt. But then you've got clubbing in an IKEA with drum sheds. You've got
like 15,000 capacity or something ridiculous. Yeah.
Can I take too big? A little bit too big, but
that's like a full-blown concert. That's a festival, isn't it?
It's a day festival. A lot of them, they are operating more like, they've got food trucks outside.
It's amazing what it is, and the production levels of things. There's I feel like there's two different types of scenes there. There's these big, kind of entertainment. And you go. There's either going to watch a DJ in a really dark space, 200 people, or there's going to a show, which is more like going to a concert or going to see a pop star or something like that.
Exactly.
It's big production, lots of phones out probably. They're two very, very, I think they're two very, very different scenes.
100%.
As you said, electronic music is exploding. So more of these bigger venues are popping up because some of these artists can sell 15,000 tickets at a time. But I still love going to the dark 200 capacity.
100%. Well, so I think the smaller scale is, and I'll get to that as well. I think it's actually interesting with Barcelona and quite a lot in like Spain, Portugal. There's a brand called Brunch Electronic. I fucking love them, man. Like they are that sort of day festival outdoor thing, but you're in the sun. They've got like the water steamers.
Oh yeah, the things.
Incredible. I can't even begin to tell you. And then everyone's got the fans out and They even have like they have a kids section as well.
Oh really?
So like you can bring the kids, and it's like the first hour or two of the day, and they have like a kids area that
okay. And they've got a DJ playing to the kids.
They do, yeah.
Oh right, amazing.
It's really interesting.
It's in Pablo Español.
They do. They move it around. Pablo Español. Montjuic. Lots of places.
Oh, that's it. Montjuic. That's the place.
It moves around, but so the bigger kind of big production events, and by all accounts, they're doing very well for themselves. Like, they are selling out. Like, they are not really struggling, to get people there. And, I think people are enjoying those, and that's great. That's not necessarily where I'm really focused on. I think they're doing okay. What I'm really focused on is, okay, how do you build a sustainable, small to mid-size, nightlife scene? What that means is like, how do we help the smaller, more independent promoter? Particularly, I've got friends who have, promoted their own nights, and they typically will get maybe 100 people, 150 people in. But the real key to that is, like we're talking just about community, right? Like, what these brands are doing, and when they work really well, is when they're building that sense of community, and they have, we talk a bit about like kind of the super fan, right? Where you have that dedicated person who, keeps coming back and feels engaged and wants to be part of the scene.
And then they tell their friends and they tell their friends.
And they become an advocate.
Yeah, there's always someone in that group. Well, I had a really good conversation we were actually talking to a couple of artists, and we were talking about you only need 100 super fans.
Yeah.
And then that's all you need. You can buy your records, buy your tickets. Like, I'm even seeing a lot of artists now offering free shows to like build their communities.
Yeah.
Instead of it's all about how driving that connection, driving that community, definitely. And I think a lot of club nights are starting to do that as well, where they're not just putting on shows. They're like, I don't know, some of them doing run clubs, some of them are doing like nights at a pub where they all meet up. So you create a community that is based around a club night going out, but they're doing different things to try and engage with those people. And their community as well.
Yeah, and it's really focused around like authenticity and curation and things like that. And like, there's a bunch of promoters that I really like. There's like a Loose Legs. I don't know if you've heard of them, or Pop Never Dies is a really cool one where again they're kind of really leaning into the sort of, I would say, online TikTok heavy. Like like a whole night of Charlie XCX music, things like that.
Oh right, they just play that. Oh right, okay.
I think they'll also weave in other stuff, but predominantly the thing you've got. It's a kind of example of kind of sub communities where those fans of that stuff are really engaged and they're coming back very frequently, and the retention rate is really strong. So how do we build a more sustainable, smaller size business for these promoters? I think first of all, it's like, how do we actually connect people? Like going back to connecting people with the right festival for them. How do we connect them with the right community for them, the right promoter for them? You look at the other platforms, like RA being a good example, is like, the predominant one, particularly in the UK market, right? They are completely focused on the biggest events. Like you open the app, that's what you see. You see the biggest events. And there's not really a way for the smaller, the more niche ones to actually get visibility on that platform. And when I talk to them, they're like, it's good as a transactional platform. Like I can sell tickets and get a QR code. That's great. But I'm actually not really getting any connection to like any organic discovery on there. And so, that's one of the areas that I think Dancefloor is really going to be able to help with, is connecting people based on their interests to these sort of more tailored recommendations.
Can the fans talk to each other on that? Is it like a mini social like network on there as well? Or is it more like a discovery platform of like you can find music, find new artists and things like that?
So communication is actually interesting. So the fans know, but what we are looking at is, both for the artists and the promoters, like having that kind of, ongoing dialogue with the person. So for example, both for artists and promoters, the legacy way of doing things would be an email newsletter.
Yes.
Right.
My inbox is full of them.
Yep. No one reads them. GDPR makes it a pain these days, and there has to be a more modern system than that. So that's something that we're looking into. Like one way that I'm starting to see more is people using Instagram broadcast channels. That's quite interesting. So, looking at how we can kind of integrate that sort of idea. Yeah, in terms of building community. So, helping signpost people, help them kind of organically recommend them. We think the promoters, the brands that they would enjoy. And then also, how can we help foster loyalty? How can we incentivize loyalty? So it might be, you could have a brand that says, okay, come to our second, third event, and maybe they get an automatic discount, or they get, early pre-sale access, or we could say even, we'll give you a little gift on the door for your fifth event or something like that. Kind of.
It's basically the promoter understanding their audience a little bit more, but it's kind of building
more of a personal touch.
That profile of who that customer is as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I like that.
Yeah. So being able to communicate with the fan, then also, how do we help kind of foster that loyal relationship and build that over time? So so that's what we're building. So we're building a platform not just for fans to discover artists and to discover events, but for artists as well. So, they can come on and they can claim their profile and they can start posting content through there.
Right, okay. Oh, amazing. So the artists can sort of control their own profile, what they want on there and stuff like that as well. So is that just launching in London at the minute, or are you going to kind of take it global? We're obviously talking about different nightlife scenes and how they, like from London to Barcelona, scenes work very differently from London to Amsterdam, and is the goal, is the game to take it sort of global with it, or what are the plans?
Yeah, so we have kind of a hybrid strategy. So the app is global, so like you can open it up. We've got a bunch of people using it also in France, in the United States, in Canada, and all sorts of places. And we will pull in, like we were talking about with Songkick. So you can still discover artists, you can discover events, and if you want to buy a ticket to that event, then we will send you over to whoever's selling the ticket for that event, so you can just discover it and go off and do that, and that's fine. We are gonna, like I say, we are building this sort of direct ticketing experience for promoters, and so we're going to be pretty much focusing on the UK market to begin with, and there's a whole Europe out there, so there's
it's just like it's the same what's happening in like Barcelona and Amsterdam. You read about the clubs shutting down there like they are here. So it's I mean, how do the different scenes compare, London to Barcelona type thing? I mean, you talked about brunch in the park with the big thing. Is there a nightlife scene in Barcelona? Is there a scene in Barcelona compared to like there's a scene in London type thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's so market dependent, right? Like the territories operate so differently.
The culture as well.
Culturally, just in terms of like what people expect, and the way business is done, and even just like the way that sort of ticketing deals are structured and all sorts of things. So it is hyper specific. So I live in Barcelona, but I don't have great business Spanish yet, so I don't think it's a good idea.
You're working on that.
Right, yeah. So no, when we go out and expand, we will have kind of local people kind of really driving that in those markets that understand that market better than I do.
Okay. I mean, we really want to get onto, because this podcast is all about trying to inspire people, and like maybe they're not in a great position in their life and they want to try and change their life. Like you were obviously, you mentioned you worked for other ticketing platforms and other platforms. What gave you that impetus to like go, right, I'm going to go do this on my own? Like what was it that, like, where did you find that motivation to go and do that? Or was it like you suddenly had this idea and I was like, right, I'm just going to go and do it. I'm going to go with it. Talk me through that process a little bit, because lots of people have these amazing ideas, but then sometimes they don't go through it. So I love people who just go, right, I like that idea, I'm going to go and go with this. So how did that process work for you?
Yeah, so my background is quite unconventional, right? But I think that, and it was very accidental, right? Like I never really set out to be a software programmer. For quite a while, I actually wanted to be a filmmaker.
Right. Okay.
So did a little detour, tried that out as well.
Yeah.
But I think what I quickly realized was there were no gatekeepers to what I was doing, right? Like I didn't even spend any money on like courses or anything. I would just teach myself from publicly available stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
And I think I quickly realized, you can just do things. Like you don't need to ask permission from anyone. You can actually just go and ring up someone and say, hey, I can make you a website, and ignore the fact that my voice hasn't broken yet.
You were doing that at 14.
I'm sure it had at that point.
Yeah, were you actually ringing the local file shop going?
I was cold calling, man. I was going around. I was knocking on doors.
Oh well, well, you couldn't find anything because they didn't have a website, did they? So literally,
I was like, girl, if you had a website, you'd have so much more business. Anyway, I think so. That really kind of like shifted my mindset of not just that sort of, you can, if you want to go do something, like you can just go do it. But also, it's interesting. Like it's made me really challenge status quos a lot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blow your mind here. I think we should do a 4-day work week.
I think I already do.
Oh, do you actually?
I think I do 3.
Oh, that's great.
But I do really long hours, and then the rest of it I'm travelling, so technically not.
But I mean, like I think a lot of that sort
of... Don't say that too loud. my team might hear that.
Yeah. I think like a lot of conventional wisdom stuff in general, I'm just like, let's rethink this. Like, that's the way it's always been. Well, does it have to be necessarily? And actually, when I go and speak to... Because occasionally I go back to my old university, right? And I do kind of these alumnus sessions where you go in and talk to the current students about like career development and blah, blah, blah. And... there would be, I did the media studies course, media and communications, and I talked to the media and communications students, and they would come in with like the kind of like CVs, and they do the kind of a mock interview with me and stuff like that. And I'd see maybe 80 students, and maybe 2 or 3 of them, and I'd ask them like, okay, well, like, what have you made? Like, what have you done? Like, they'll say, I've got like a blog that I've been working on, a fashion blog that I've made, or, I want to start my own magazine, or I've been making these like short films and such and such. And you get them talking about it. They're really passionate about it. They love it, and talk about it. And then the vast majority of the other students were just like, "Oh yeah, I'm just doing the course, and then I'm just gonna get this piece of paper degree and go walk in with a job somewhere."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah, there's 2 different types of people, isn't there? Some people have that passion and they really want to do it. I think that's where it comes. Some people are like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just happy working the 9 to 5 and stuff like that. I'm just like, I really love people who are just like have an idea and they just go with it and run with it. They're like, you've got to. I think if you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to try and start your own business, you've got to take risks.
Well, certainly,
you've got to have some bollocks. You've got to have some balls to go and do it.
Certainly, entrepreneur, and I'm not even giving advice specifically for entrepreneurs. I mean, just in general, like I think, particularly if you want to be in the creative industries, you gotta like want to make stuff. Like you don't need to be waiting for anyone's permission to make stuff. You just got to start doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I would say to them, like, out of everyone here, like I would only even consider the 3 or 4 people who actually are out doing like walking the walk, right?
Yeah.
So I think, what I would say to people is, particularly if you want to work in the creative industries, like maybe it's music, maybe it's film, whatever it is, a lot of times you get people say, but it's not a very secure industry. Like, my parents want me to just go like pick a safer option. And, I think multiple things. You don't know how long you've got left on this planet. Like none of us do. And I think if you kind of just immediately kind of discount what you actually really want to do, then you're kind of just wasting your time. And that's a bit of a...
Yeah, you got to follow your passions, you got to follow your dreams.
I think you have to, at least when you're young, like, right, you've got kind of no... there's nothing holding you back really from
go
doing
and try
that.
that. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. And then like, look, if it doesn't... And things will not work at times. Like even now, like...
I think a lot of time you've got to fail to then realise and learn from those things. And, especially in business, I've got like 6 different businesses.
Sure.
I've tried to start like 15. And like, so the 6 successful ones I've got 9 failures that I tried, it didn't work.
And look,
but then I learned from that, and
what's the worst that happened? Like you're still here,
Yeah, and I've learned from that, and then I've gone into and started other businesses, which have then become successful type thing. Yeah, if you don't try, you don't know if
you don't know. You never know.
Yeah, amazing. Like this is what kind of motivates you then? Moving kind of over the next 6 months, the year with Dancefloor. Like what's kind of your motivation there? Where is that going to be a moment where I don't know, where you're like, this is why I'm doing this, or is it just to see that grow and see the experiences, or like I don't know, will there be that festival moment like you mentioned earlier where you're like you went to that festival, you saw lots of people smiling. Where would that moment maybe be with Dancefloor? Maybe where you've seen the whole cycle work, where a fan has just I don't know met an artist, and then it's then they've gone to that club night. I don't know what kind of motivates you with that.
Yeah, I think we're talking about like why I'm doing this, and I think it's really about not about like saving the industry per se, like it might be framed, but actually we just want to help promote and push it along and help it be as successful as possible, right? We want artists to be able to break through and to like discover their audience. And like we say, it only takes a small number of super fans to really get that kind of snowball effect going. So helping them get more artists discovered. And with promoters, it's in the name. They want to promote their events as successfully as possible. Yeah. And, the state of the industry right now, it's tough. Like, in the state of the industry now, it's tough. Margins are thin. Like, they need to have a way of better efficiently a more optimized way, do their marketing efforts. And so really success for us looks like we're helping to get those promoters promote their events more efficiently, get more people to them, help build more sustainable businesses, get more repeat business coming in through the door. And then just, like all rising tide lifts all boats, really. I think that's the idea behind the business, is just helping to boost this industry, helping to push it along if we can. And we're just going to give it a shot and see what happens. But I think, the early feedback that we've gotten from artists that we've spoken to, from promoters that we've spoken to, really listen to their pain points, like what are the things they are struggling with right now. And we are like laser focused on just tackling those problems. Yeah,
trying to solve them. So improve their level of service, improve their communities, and I think it's amazing what you're trying to do there with it. I think the app's the project's got huge potential. Last question is like, what would you say to someone if they wanted to get into music or entertainment or creative industry? What's that one bit of advice that maybe someone gave you before you might not have had any advice, but like we always ask that. What's that one bit of advice that you would give to someone who's maybe just leaving uni and they want to get into the creative industry? What is that one piece of advice?
It's tough because there's obviously so many different paths to get there. There is no specific exact formula. Obviously. I think back on, for me, like one of the first companies I worked for, they were they were a comedy studio. They did online funny videos. Right, okay. They started in 2004, which was before YouTube even existed. So you would go to their website and download a QuickTime file to watch the videos.
Oh, really? Oh, right, okay. Oh, wow.
I got that job because I was just...
Wow, you think about that, it's like how fast technology has moved. Like
yeah, Windows Media files as well.
Oh,
Those were also an option.
Wow.
But yeah, no, the way that I got working there, and I went in and I kind of built out their web platform for them, was, they had a kind of a very basic sort of WordPress style website. And I emailed them and I was like, your website's not very good. Can I please make it better? And I wasn't even like expecting compensation. I was just like, I would love to... I'm just really passionate about it. Like I've got some really good ideas.
Yeah.
And, just came up with a bunch of ideas and shared with them. And then they were like, oh, actually, sure. Like that sounds good. So that was a complete stab in the dark, right? Yeah. It costs you nothing to send an email.
Yeah.
It's worth just reaching out to people. And particularly these days, people are so much more accessible. Like, you can just slide into the Instagram DMs.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
TikTok.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't know. Like I would say, I wouldn't even say I work in the music industry per se, because I'm a software engineer guy. So all of the jobs that I've gone for have been in the context of a software engineer interview. So, it's not like I've worked at a label or anything like that. But yeah, I think like my general advice would be just, find the people that you are really, you're clearly like super passionate about. Like, take your top ones, even if they might seem too big or too out of reach.
Yeah.
And just think about like, well, what value maybe could I bring to this?
Yeah.
And just kind of sketch that out and send it over. And,
That's it. If you don't send it, you won't ever
send off the email, then forget about it. And then, maybe a couple of days later, you'll get a reply back.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. No, I love that. Yeah. I remember doing that. And when I was young, when I was first trying to get into the industry, just send out, I've probably sent out about 2,000 emails.
Yeah.
Just to everyone. I made a list, all the people that I wanted to work for, or the labels or the PR companies that I wanted to be part of. So yeah, definitely great advice. But thanks, Ben. Thanks for coming on the podcast, mate. Super excited to hear more about the platform, and really looking forward to watching it grow. And all the best with it.
Great. Thanks, man. Good to be here.
Cheers, mate.